Good afternoon, Husky Pups. Here is Miss Bottone with your ELA lessons for the week. Our focus this week will be the nonfiction standards, RI.3.2, RI.3.4, and RI.3.7. And we're going to read some books about ecosystems. The first standard, RI.3.2, I can identify the main idea of a text, recount key details, and explain how they support the main idea. And here is an example on the side. Your main idea is what the story is mostly about, the most important part of a story. The supporting details are the facts or examples that tell more about the main idea. For example, my cheeseburger looked delicious. That is our main idea sentence. The supporting details that go along with it are, it had juicy pickles with freshly sliced cheese. The bun had sesame seeds and looked tasty. I couldn't wait to bite into it. So there's our first standard of the week. Our second standard is RI.3.4. I can determine the meaning of unknown words in a third grade text. And what we've already practiced this year, boys and girls, is using context clues. Looking around the sentence to see what can we do, what can we look for to help us understand the unknown word, which more than likely are going to be vocabulary words. We can see some examples, a definition, or we can maybe even break apart the word. Does it have a suffix? Does it have a prefix? These are the things that we're going to practice this week. Our third standard for the week is RI.3.7. I can use information from the illustrations and the words to demonstrate understanding of the text. A text illustration can tell you what's going on in the story. It can create the mood. It could also give extra details that are not in the text. So if you're having a hard time understanding, you can look at the pictures to see if it helps. It can provide the reader an understanding of the setting. So down below here, we have our two characters. The first girl, you can tell by the illustration that she's somewhere where it's really windy. Our second character here, he's sweating. So you can definitely tell that he's somewhere where it's really hot. All of the books this week are going to be about ecosystems. I'm going to read a book each day from Epic and talk about a different ecosystem. And then on Friday, you're going to kind of pick one to research about. So what I've decided to do is take the books right off of Epic. That way, when you're done watching this video, you can go on and you can read the same book yourself. So this is also in a collection that I've already made for you. This book is called Ecosystems. Earth, the life planet. People have been all over Earth. They have been in every type of condition. They have seen every type of land. They have been in fierce heat. They have been in raging storms. They have seen land that is not soggy, that is soggy. They have seen land that is bone dry. Every place they go, people find one thing, life. Earth is filled with life. In fact, it is the only planet we know that has life on it. So already we see lots of great illustrations that will help us understand the text. People study Earth and all it holds. We study the land, water, and air. We have learned plants and animals are alive. We know they use both living and non-living things to survive. Models help us see how things work. One kind of model is a hierarchy. It ranks groups of things together. In nature, it ranks from smallest to largest. What groups are in the hierarchy of life? An organism is a single living thing. It is part of a population. That is a group of other things like itself. A population is part of a community. That is all the population in an area. Communities and non-living things in an area make up an ecosystem. So here we see our vocabulary words are in bold. We can look around the words for context clues to help us understand the meaning of these words. What does it mean? Ecosystem is a big word. It is really two words in one. The first part comes from the word ecology, that is the study of living things in their home. It looks at how they use soil, water, and sun. And don't forget, third grade, we have some great captions, another text feature that we've talked about before. So when you go back to read this, pay close attention to those captions. The second part of the word is system. A system is a group of parts working together. Our roads are one kind of system. The human body is another kind. Put the two words together, an ecosystem is everything that lives in a certain place. It includes how living things use soil, water, and the sun. It also includes the way living things interact with one another. Parts of an ecosystem. All living things need energy. Most plants get energy from the sun. They use the sun's light to make food. They also use nutrients from the soil. We call plants producers. They produce or make food on their own. Some living things get their energy from other living things. They eat them. We call them consumers. They eat or consume plants or animals. So here we can see a lion who is a consumer eating other animals for energy. Some living things get their energy from dead things. We call them decomposers. They decompose or break down the living things that have died. They are mainly very small things such as fungi. Producers can use what decomposers leave behind to make their food. This is a great illustration below showing all the mushrooms. All the living things in an ecosystem depend on one another. They are in balance. An ecosystem needs just the right amount of each thing. In this way, each living thing gets what it needs. Great pictures. Types of ecosystems. There are many ecosystems. They fall into three main types: terrestrial, marine, and freshwater. Terrestrial ecosystems are on land. A desert is one example. There are many deserts on Earth. They are very hot and dry. They do not get much rain or snow. The plants in deserts are often far apart. This is so each other can get the water it needs. The plants are smaller than those in wet areas. Small plants need less water. The animals in deserts can live with little water too. So one ecosystem we're going to talk about this week is desert. Marine. This might be one of your favorite ones. Marine means ocean. There's a lot of life in the ocean. Most ocean plants and animals live near the shore. There's a lot of food and light there. Tiny plants float in the water. Large plants grow on the seafloor. Sea animals eat the plants. Large sea animals eat the small animals. That is how energy from the sun moves through the system. So this is another ecosystem. So if we think about main idea, the main idea of this paragraph is the ecosystem of marine life. So all of these sentences are those supporting details that support marine ecosystems. Freshwater, and this is probably the one ecosystem that we can relate to the most because we live in it. Freshwater ecosystems include lakes and ponds. The water is calm there. Many plants and animals live near the shore. Others live deeper in the water. Large and small organisms swim and float in the water. Some small creatures even live in the mud at the bottom. Plants use energy from the sun. Animals eat the plants. Large animals eat the small animals. This is how they share the sun's energy. So I'm sure we can all relate because we all probably are close to a lake or a pond. Altogether, balance is the key to a healthy ecosystem. Too much or too little or anything is a problem. Each thing must be there in just the right amount. That is balance. These are things in nature that may change the balance. There may be a fire or a flood. There may be too much heat, or there may be too little rain. But most people can cause a change. People may pollute the air. We may chop down too many trees. We may grow plants that do not belong there. We kind of talked about this last week with ecosystems. Living things count on us to care for their homes. We all live in one big ecosystem. Earth is their home. It is our home too. So not ecosystem, what I meant to say was Earth Day. All right, third grade, that is basically the book. I want to go back and let you look at this page because this is the glossary and it has all of our vocabulary words with their definitions. So don't hesitate that when you read a book to go back to the glossary, because if you didn't understand what a word meant, you can go back here and look. So all week our theme will be about ecosystems. Now you're going to try some of these standards. You're going to click on Mrs. Faulkner's video and she will have an activity for you. See you tomorrow.